The Bunker Project, podcast episode number 82. All right, we're here again, live to hard drive in the Den in Vancouver. And we've got DJ Lefty in the house again. He's got his DJ gear all set up and ready to rock and roll. And we're going to play one of his songs.
Yeah, this is my very first remix I ever did, and it's not bad. I've actually got three local DJs that are already playing this out loud at the club, so
Cool.
hope you guys like it. If you don't, you can just lie to me and tell me how great it is. Those are the rules, all right?
It's so good.
Thanks, man. Thank you. I know
It's like there's a party in my headphones and everyone's invited.
I do that.
So you're saying you got a record deal from this one?
A friend of mine owns an online record store, and labels are always coming to him asking him for new talent. If you know anybody that's making any music, I have plenty of friends that are way more talented than me. In particular, a local guy named Billy the Kid, who's been producing music for about 10 years. I attempted. I got lucky with a couple of them. This one here, I think I got lucky on because everyone seems to like it a lot.
Cool. So that's an online?
It's an online record store, but mostly I was not concerned about making money with it. What I want to do, I want to know how many people listen to the song and then how many people paid $2 for it. I want to know what that ratio is, because then that's sort of the true measure of whether it's good or not. If they listen to it and then bought it, that's different than listening to it and passing it over for something else.
Good point.
James is always looking at dirty girls on his computer. What's that about? Always. Every time I look up.
Lies. Complete and utter lies, DJ Lefty.
It's not a lie right beside it.
I told the truth.
Well,
All right.
it's actually, I'm doing some research on insurance.
Right. It's a novel I'm writing. Research for a novel that I'm writing.
I told you that domain in confidence, James. Damn it.
Just so you know, there's two of my ex-girlfriends showed up on your screen there for a second.
Really?
Whoa.
They're my ex-girlfriends, too. We have a lot more in common than just being from the same place.
You guys date ugly girls.
Calgary is a small, small place. You know what social networking is in Calgary? Hitting a cow in the head.
I thought it was poking the cow.
Well, no.
So where are they into cow tipping?
Okay, so for
Outskirts. The outskirts.
yeah. Anyways, you can't actually
Depends
tip a
on
cow. That's a false myth. I don't believe you.
We
can,
talked about this.
Yeah, we've talked about this before. You can't tip a cow.
You know what they do in Calgary?
Never lived up in the interior.
What do they do in Calgary?
In Calgary for fun. I mean, this is the kind of stupid stuff that we did when I was a Calgary person. My buddy used to own a Jeep. We'd go 4x4ing in pastures and steer wrestle bulls. We'd drive the Jeep up beside a bull, and then one would hang off the roll bar and jump onto this bull, grab his horns, and hold on for as long as you can. That's the stupid kind of stuff you do when you're drunk on Budweiser.
Can I ask Margaret? Would you be covered under personal personal insurance for that sort of thing?
Sorry, stupidity is not covered.
No? Okay.
That's why my family will go broke when I die, because it's definitely going to be something stupid I did.
But we make fun of Calgary, but actually it's 100 days until the 100th anniversary of the Calgary Stampede.
Wow,
So
cool.
if anybody's looking for a nice vacation, who want to go see what it's like to get drunk for 10 days, wear a cowboy hat, and
Party with some
celebrate
cowboys and do a little yeehaw.
some history, go to the Calgary Stampede this year.
And also the deep fried.
Donut burger. I don't know if it'll come back, though. They'll probably have something awesome to eat there, though. So it'll be awesome.
Little plug, if anybody is going to be in Calgary, I'll be playing Sal's on 17th, the week of the Stampede, 17th Avenue.
Nice.
Well, now I have a reason to go to Calgary.
There you go.
Cool. Not just the deep fried
No.
hot
That-
dog or whatever it was.
It was a donut burger, remember?
Yeah.
And then I brought you guys back some beef jerky.
That was awesome.
Yeah, I brought them back some Okotoks beef jerky to like make them understand what it's like.
No screwing around there. That's serious beef jerky.
That's serious beef jerky.
Chad's not, or DJ Lefty is not familiar with the Bunker Show. We every now and then do black beer or the alcohol of your choice, or non-alcoholic beverage if you're so inclined. Beer pairing with chocolate. We did a big beer pairing chocolate episode. It was only supposed to be a 20-minute segment of the episode, but it took over the entire show. And we did the beef jerky one, and we did a bunch of stuff. Bob brought a bunch of stuff. So every now and then we do a food pairing.
Well, bring me back for that show.
Yeah. Well, it looks like Alex we might be doing something with him.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Have you ever done black beer and chocolate tasting for your social feed?
We
Don't get me
haven't.
started.
We haven't. I might have to test it out.
Yeah. So if people are interested in your service, where can they find it?
www.thesocialfeed.com
The social feed.
or Facebook / the social feed or Twitter social feed.
The pun is intended.
It is. It's like,
That's correct.
do you ever take anybody to like a smorgasbord?
Oh, that's what we do.
Smorgasbord.
Cool. So what are we talking about this week?
I have a focus idea. Let's talk about this totally addictive game where you draw pictures on it.
So during the
I've
break,
started 7 games.
We did that last week, but we do have another game.
we could talk about that actually. I wanted to like throw something out about that maybe
Okay.
people didn't know. Apparently, an interview with the guy said he had $1,700 in his bank account the day before the company was bought.
Wow.
So
I think I read that same interview, and he almost got hit by a car walking out of the office.
wow. So
He was that stunned.
Wow. Yeah. I guess if you get $180 million, you probably would. Also,
I mean, they had 35 other games, right? And they were basically
They,
worthless.
they did. They were a portal that did other games, and they had the Facebook game Draw My Thing, kind of just like Rovio had 52 games before they made Angry Birds.
Yep.
The thing about Oh My God Pop though is it was a Y Combinator company, which I don't know if people know what Y Combinator does, but there's a couple of other companies. There's a Thinking Ape, which is in town here, which is an awesome company that does iPhone and web stuff, and they make a game called what is it, Kingdoms at War, and they came from the Y Combinator, and it took this guy 5 years. So there's some cool stuff that startup accelerators can do.
Cool.
Yeah. So. But yeah, so Bob, you're totally addicted to draw something now in the break.
I've started 7 games.
So do you still agree that your fingers are really fat? Well, okay. So I find when I play that game, my fingers are too fat. So when I try to do a really fine line, it's super hard.
So what you need is the Samsung Galaxy Note.
Or
Yeah.
you could buy a stylus for $7 from Andrew anytime.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. $7. Be all right.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's cost.
Oh, so that's $35 for us real people.
Retail $35. Just so you guys know.
God, I love the phone industry. Actually, I do. I really do.
Well, there has to be a markup.
There has to be.
Andrew's got a kid now. You got to feed that kid.
That's right. Yeah. Anyways,
So draw something's awesome. The other thing that's been really crazy in gaming is Mass Effect 3. So it's like I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but their fans have been super outraged about the ending of the entire game. So much so that they've been like harassing like everybody about it. And finally the company bowed in and said, sure, we'll make another ending. And so it kind of sets a dangerous precedent. And somebody that I was talking to said, so what's next? Walt Disney's going to be like, it's okay, Bambi's mom comes back at the end. You know, so I wanted to get your guys' opinion.
The other didn't really die.
Yeah. So what do you guys think on communities being able to force pressure even after they've bought the game or particular product?
Well, give the customer what they want
Yeah.
for a game. I think so. Yeah.
You think that's okay for a game, but not a movie, maybe, or
You shouldn't rewrite history.
Well, hang on. Movies have traditionally had multiple endings. Some of you could play it 3 or 4 different ways. I mean, how many of the shoot-up games is, depending on how you play it, you would end up having a different experience, and you could play the same game again.
But which movies?
Again.
Which
Well,
movies?
that's
have
completely
multiple
different than
endings?
taking a classic movie and rewriting the
Clue.
ending.
Clue is the only movie I know of that had multiple endings. Marcel?
Well, I mean, generally nowadays, the only movies that have multiple endings are like the lazy, like horror movies or sci-fi movies, where they don't really have an ending to begin with, so they just shoot a couple and then figure it out.
But the actual
Generally.
release of the movie, how many movies actually have different endings?
Not that many. I mean, most movies are pretty concrete in storytelling as far as what they're doing. Like, it's the dumb movies that they'll shoot multiple endings to, usually.
It's usually just some throw in that they put on the DVD also, right? Oh, we also filmed this. Check it out.
Yeah, the extra features. Yeah. Cool. Well, Pinterest had skim links. We talked about that a few weeks ago. And that's how they monetize it. But because of fallout from the users who didn't like that, they canceled their agreement with skim links. So they're no longer using it.
I could tell you something about as far as games go and having company or consumer pressures on the gaming companies. You know, I've got a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old boy, and over the last 6 months, we got addicted to this Wii. I say we because I did as well. Got addicted to this game, Skylanders.
oh yeah, that's
right?
such a good game. Yeah.
Right, and essentially you buy a little tower of power and the characters, and they're $10 each, right? And you play the game with your little figurine.
Yeah.
So I've bought 15 of these things at $10.
Yeah.
And we finished the game, and it was great. We had a blast. We still play it, but we finished the game, and it says we've done 37% of the content.
Yeah.
The other 63% is actually doing levels and getting every little power up and every little thing on. So we stopped playing it, and they say we've only finished 37%. Well, we finished the whole game. Quite frankly, I've spent $150 on these characters to play 37% of a game, and there's no interest after that. I'd rather
you're not going to buy other Skylanders.
Oh yeah, I
too?
probably will because I'm a shopping addiction and I love this game. It's cool.
Well, you're just not going to perfect the game, is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. You can go in and get better. You could get a higher score. Well, we do that with games all the time anyway. But with this particular game, it was pretty short for how much money I spent on it. The next level is coming out, and they'll have new figurines, and I'll probably spend another $200 on that, and we'll be done that in 2 weeks. And this is a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
What about? But the handy thing is they can still play with those toys, can't they? Off the Tower of Power?
No,
Not really.
Well,
No.
No. The cool. I mean, it's a really neat design. You can buy the figurines.
Are they
and
fragile?
All your save progress gets saved on the figurine on the character, so you can take it to your friend's house and play with it there. But I think that for a 7-year-old, we finished that game way too early for the amount of money that I spent on it.
See, we didn't have save points back when I was growing up. So I mean, a game would last us forever because you had to accomplish it in a sitting.
Maybe you just should have practiced a little more. You ever think of that?
Burned by DJ Lefty.
DJ Lefty burns the gaming maven.
But I mean, that's fine. But considering I was probably 5 when you were 15, I guess we have different expectations of that sort of thing. But I mean, maybe it was my skills, but a lot of these games were
lasting more too.
They were longer because they were harder. They didn't hold your hand as much, and I wonder if that's.
Yeah, there's certainly no level on this game that we couldn't finish, and games used to not be like that. Games where you worked your butt off to finish that level, and if you didn't do it, you try it again and again and again. You couldn't get past it. With this game, You just keep, it's one level, you go through the motions, you get to the next level, right?
What about consumer pressures the other way, James? You know that Double Click, that project that was on Kickstarter?
Okay.
That was, you know those old school games where they're point and click games?
Yeah.
Where you
Double
kinda-
Fine, you mean?
Double Fine, that's
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Okay.
They recently, I guess, just got
$3.3 million
Yeah.
to make a point and click adventure game, which is awesome because Ron Gilbert and Tim Schafer are amazing. So, hopefully they do very good things with that money.
Yeah, I mean, they were asking for
$400,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, and got $3.3 million. So if you don't like pre-ordering your games, you're probably going to end up doing it now. Don't be surprised if bigger studios jump into the fray as well, looking for some of that. So it'll be kind of interesting to see how the consumers start voting with their dollar, and if there is actually a market for that sort of thing. Because there's no way to really it seems like such a weird concept to me, because before you had to get enough money just to make the game. Now you actually have people invested in it, right? So that puts a lot of pressure to make something that is going to conform to everybody that's yelling about it. And I think people have a lot more of a personal attachment to it because they invested money. So
that's kind of the point, right? Because you're now part of the project, it makes it a bigger deal to you, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it is a cool thing, and it'll be interesting to see how that plays out and see if it continues to be successful after the first couple projects launch from it. I mean, what was it the guy that did the Nano Watch?
That was cool.
That was the first Kickstarter that got funded within 24 hours, I believe. So I haven't seen anybody with one of those. I'm pretty sure there's Nanos that you can buy that are a watch now, which is kind of funny. It's like, hey, we'll just make that ourselves. So,
did they make it themselves? I don't think so.
There's somebody that was showing me actually a watch that he had that was an iPod.
But it was a third party.
I think it was an Apple. I'm pretty sure it was. I don't know.
Interesting.
It could be, yeah. But
I think it was a knockoff of the guy's idea, a third party knockoff.
It could be too.
You were mentioning a game called Fame.
Yeah, there's so for social media aspects, we'll go back to this, but there's a new thing called play-fame.com where you connect your Twitter and you basically get her to win however many followers have signed up for this using their Twitter account for a whole day. So right now there's 3,958 followers that you can win, and and it's grown up from the first time I saw it, which was 115. So,
okay. So my question is, how did they take them away after that one day?
I don't know, but they're trying to make it seems like it says here they're trying to make the daily winner more famous than Lady Gaga, and they're 1% to 21 million followers, which Lady Gaga currently has. So
they got some work ahead of them.
Yeah, but I think that's a good point, because Twitter doesn't really like that kind of thing. We'll see if it continues to exist. There's frequently asked questions. Let's see. Can you win more than once? Can I follow the winner? Can I continue following him? So I think it's just a way to, kind of just get more followers and maybe see your message. I don't know. It kind of seems silly.
It seems really pointless. I guess, if you just really don't care who's following and you're just after the number maybe, but I don't know if you're really trying to do anything actual meaningful on there. It doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, it's kind of like those team, where people are if you follow me, I'll follow you right back.
And I get that spam follow, do this and you'll get lots of followers. It's I get people following me because they like the content. I don't need to game it. That's not the point.
Yeah, but I mean, it's for some people. I can see that being just something fun to do. They're definitely not doing it for any purpose other than fun, right? It's just a game.
Like other games, pointless fun.
Hey, that's not that true. I mean, Bob is currently playing Draw Something Like a Mother in his house.
I know that. I
He
noticed
loves
he's
it.
been really. It's one way to
I've
keep
got
by.
12 games going. I've run out of people to start new games with.
See,
Yeah, but the funny thing is
how to
Bob's
keep
an
Bob
artist.
quiet. Give him a game to play.
Bob's an artist, though. He could probably draw so good that it's boring for him because everybody guesses right away.
Well, no, but you only get 3 colors to start off with.
No, I got 5 colors.
You got 5 colors. You got.
It doesn't matter. You just I started drawing with all monochromatic. It doesn't matter. So,
but
really,
I mean,
you don't need the colors.
I mean, like that's the big controversy, right? Well, not controversy, but people are pushing to have more meaningful experiences. That's one thing. Like Journey is a game that is on PS3 in the PSN store, and it doesn't use any text, and there's no way to communicate with the other person other than like visual cues, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of kind of see, and you don't have to stick around with the person either. You can roll around too. So it's all about experiencing your journey. So we'll see if this meaningful gaming kind of continues. So, but yeah, I don't know. I saw Fame. I thought it was interesting. I didn't sign up for it because I was like, well, I don't know what it's going to do to my Twitter account.
Yeah, that's always the question, right?
Yeah, it's like, what are you going to do with my Twitter account? And apparently,
next thing you know, you get banned from Twitter.
Apparently, there's been like massive unfollowings on Twitter right now. So, apparently, Flash 11.2 and Air 3.2 came out 5 hours ago. So, I guess Photoshop CS6 is going to come out rather soon. I know it's in beta right now. So,
interesting
for all you
so,
artists.
Hey Bob.
Yeah.
You're a big Apple fan, right?
Yeah, I got an Apple. I got 7.
You're a big Steve Jobs fan, like most of us.
I never slept with the guy, but I like him. Yeah.
Yeah. So in our show notes,
Okay, you just didn't get the chance, but would you have?
Nah. He's too predictable.
Always
No
wears
challenge.
the same turtleneck sweater. All right. So is Apple already losing its way without Steve Jobs?
You know what? Who cares? But in what they're doing is they're taking $45 billion and they're giving dividends, and that's the first time that's ever happened in Apple because Steve hated giving dividends.
Well, his strategy was to build a war chest to save money in order to have a ton of cash in order to defend the company for anti-competition and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know it's not. The article isn't about that, though. I mean, although the dividend is definitely showing that Tim Cook isn't scared of making decisions that Steve Jobs would have been against, because he definitely would have been against the dividend. But this question comes up with the design like Apple's famous for having the great design, right? So a former Apple employee tweeted, "I implemented much of the Apple TV 2.0 UI years ago. The new homepage UI makes me cry." And the second tweet said, "Fun fact, those new designs were tossed out 5 years ago because Steve Jobs didn't like them.
Yep.
Now there's nobody to say no to bad design." Now, for obvious reasons, those tweets created a stir and were picked up by numerous blogs eager to speculate about whether Apple's use of designs that Steve Jobs rejected years ago is a sign that the company is already starting to lose its way without him. But what do you think about that? Because I know you use everything Apple. I so do I, almost, but not quite.
That's a tough call. I mean, before Steve died, I'm sure they had 3 years worth of planning. They might be doing a couple of things on the side, but I think the line of Macs will continue the way they've been for at least 3 years. Maybe in 3 or 4 years, you'll have a different type of Mac come out. But for now, you've basically got 3. Oh, thanks. You've got.
Dawson, mute yourself. Shh. Mute yourself.
Okay. I'll just mute him. There you go. He's muted. Nope. Oh, hang on. We got some music. All right. Anyways, what I was saying. Oh, yeah, Macs. So I would figure 3 to 4 years, you're going to start seeing some radical changes in the company. But for right now, I think the design and the way they approach their products is going to stay pretty constant for the next 3 to 4 years. And they're dominating the market. One of the biggest things that's being talked about right now is, are they going to discontinue the Mac towers, the pro level towers? And that would kill me. But they haven't upgraded since 2010, and it doesn't sound like they're going to be upgrading anytime soon. Maybe at the end of this year, maybe not. But yeah, they don't make stuff for pros anymore, and that's a killer.
I was just looking at those the other day because I'm really in need of a new computer. So I was thinking of getting a Mac Pro actually for home.
Yeah, but I mean the big old towers, the big ones that you can put 4 2-terabyte drives in and 65 gigabytes of RAM and make it a powerhouse so you can do anything with it. They've traditionally had a very hard time with it because it's a completely customizable unit. And because of that, the motherboard is very, very expensive.
Well, yeah, I was looking online, and some of them are like $8,000 or $9,000. It's crazy.
Yeah, 8 or 9. I mean, if I'd never buy a $9,000 one. I'd buy like a $4,000 standard and upgrade it myself cheaper. Yeah. But the unit I got in the closet I'm using now to do this, I put in about $7,000 over the last 4 years. It's got 12 terabytes of hard drive space and 32 gigabytes of RAM. It's got Blu-ray. I mean, it's got a ton of stuff in it. But you can't go out and buy a new model. Like I want faster processors. I want a 12 core. I want to have Needham processor, and I can't do that. And the problem is because it's got old processors, I can't even use what's it? Got a wild person coming in. The problem is that the processors are so old that the video editing software Final Cut Pro X doesn't work on the computers.
Yeah.
So you got to upgrade the video cards, and that's still iffy. So yeah, not happy with that. But what are you going to do? Right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think that it was a good decision to do the dividend for Apple. They have tons of cash in the bank, and it's strategically, I think it's a good decision.
Well, one of the reasons that they're spending $45 billion is to buy back stock, and the reason that they're having to do that is because a lot of people are going to cash out their stock soon because a lot of people have stock options. And Mac right now, I mean, I think they just went over $600 per share, which is nuts.
Yeah, they think that they're going to go to about 1,000.
Yeah, somebody says 1,000. I mean, 3 years ago, people said it'll never go above 250. Maybe 300.
Yeah, but are they just going to do a stock split instead?
Well, that would make it a lot easier for people to buy in, for sure. But I don't know if you'd want to do that with your stock share being so high. You might have a mass exodus, right?
Well, he's saying they might have one anyway.
Well, I don't believe so. I mean, they've proven a track record of good quality design, and people are kind of used to this stuff now. I don't think
but
it's
like
going to be...
Andrew was just saying, there's a lot of people saying they might lose their way. It happened to Walmart after Sam Walton died. They really went off the rails and were not following the same business ethics and models as they used to, so it can happen.
And it did happen to Apple when Steve Jobs left the company.
Yeah, that is true, but I mean, I think that, I don't know, like it's such a hard question to answer, right? Because you don't know what exactly his role was at Apple. Sure, it was CEO, but like how hands-on was he with actually the development?
Steve was
100%. He was crazy.
You think that he was the only person to like ever, like, I'm pretty sure they did a lot of user testing. They did a lot of development and research, and
they did. But
he
was
I thought he said in his book, like, it's like there may have been some user testing after it was developed, but they didn't really do any market research beforehand because people don't know what they want.
Yeah, you never do that. Like if you're trying to come up with something innovative, you don't ask your customer. You just do it, and then you see how your customer reacts to it. That's how you get technology that gets adopted. Yeah, Like you usually you make something and then you release it to the public and you see what the public does with it, and then you iterate off of that concept.
What's the cliche of Henry Ford asked what people wanted? They would have said a faster horse.
Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah, I mean, like people don't really know what they want. You have to go out there and figure out where their pain point is and find that, and then develop something to do that. I mean, that's the common thread when I go to these hackathons. And I think that as long as Apple understands where people's pains are, like people can't even think of a life without apps, after the iPhone came out, right? Like it was kind of incredible. I mean, sure, Google is
Forget the Kodachrome. Don't take my apps away.
But I mean, I have a lot of friends that are also saying, hey, they're going to switch over to an Android. So I mean, what do you think? I say get a MacBook Pro.
Well, I think there's lots of options, and one of them now is Microsoft.
Yeah.
Microsoft Windows Phone. The new Lumia, Nokia Lumia is out.
Great phone.
It is a great phone, and it's getting actually in a lot of corporate accounts are actually really happy with it.
My accounts. My accounts.
That was DJ Lefty talking. He's in the industry just like me. And what do you think of this, James?
Yo.
One of the weaknesses of Windows Phone
Yeah.
is lack of apps.
Totally.
Yeah. So,
But no, I don't mean like totally. I mean, there's a lot of great apps. It's just that it's not as mined as the App Store of
well, obviously iOS has the best ecosystem for apps.
They don't have the best ecosystem at
Android.
all. No.
Android.
does have-
Like sure, you can like Android has good it depends on what you're talking about. If you're talking about the quality of apps or the quantity of apps, Apple's definitely got the quantity of apps. But I think it's become really hard to find the quality apps unless it goes to the top 25.
There's a lot of good quality apps on the iOS, and there's a lot more variety than any other platform. Android is close.
I'd like to ask somebody else in our hangout what they think about this because they're also a developer. So
Dawson, what do you think?
Dawson Valdez has just joined us.
So we let's ask Dawson. Let's get him to introduce himself because
nowadays
we don't know who he is.
Dawson, give us an intro to yourself before you start talking. Your name, what you do.
My name's Dawson Valdez. I do Flash, Flex, Air development. We got a lot of different devices. I would say nowadays, all like a normal person really needs is just an iPad. So you can do anything on an iPad. There's really an app for everything now.
So you're saying that the Apple OS has the best app
there's coding
ecosystem.
environments now too. It's starting to. There's a few different IDEs that have just come out on iPad, so you can actually program your iPad on your iPad directly.
Hey, Dawson, what's an IDE?
It's a development environment. It's an integrated development environment. It's basically what a programmer uses to create an application, right? To make a program, to create a program.
A compiler, or is it just make more like a WYSIWYG?
Well, it's a integrated development environment. So it's a compiler, and it's a text editor, and then usually some type of version control as well.
Okay, so you're a big fan of Apple in terms of mobile devices.
Xcode is an IDE, right? That's for
development.
Apple.
Yeah. So what do you like the best though of the devices you have? You like the iPad the best?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question then for both you and James. Microsoft in Finland has a new university program that they're putting in 24 million. Actually 12 million, and Nokia's putting in the other 12 million. So 24 million total. And it's to develop apps, to encourage the development of apps for Windows.
Yeah, I mean,
platform.
they have that going on right now. It's a thing. There's also the design, build, create competition going on for students as well. So,
do you think that these kind of programs will make a difference in getting the apps to market and increasing the viability of the ecosystem?
Yeah, totally. I mean, anytime one of these companies offers their software for free, you're going to see a lot more people take it on and try to build it. I mean, when Unity just went free for the Unity normal version until April the 8th, you saw like a ton of people download that software because they don't have to pay the $3,000 for what they had before. With Microsoft offering it to students, I mean, you get them coding in your environment. And once they figure out how it is easy to make something, then they can work on other things using that same technology going forward. So I mean, it's a common smart way to do it. If you're going to do something, you got to stick to it, and then continuously keep working at it, right?
So do you think it's a long-term strategy, or do you think it's something that's going to pan out for them in the short term?
From what I know, because I currently am developing an application for Windows Phone, I'm totally down with it. I think it's a great opportunity. It's a place that not a lot of people are necessarily going into because they all bought Apple computers to develop for the iPhone. I think once Microsoft and Nokia start getting more handsets out with the technology, I think that you'll see a bigger adoption, and then you'll just see the software come after it, because people don't want to take a risk on a small percentage of users. They want to try to hit like a shotgun approach, like these spammers that we talked about last time, where they just hit as many people as possible. So I think if they can find really good applications that fill those pain points I was talking about earlier, that separate them from Apple, or add something new with their technology in their phones, I think that they could definitely do something really good. Same with their platform on their desktop. So I mean, you're going to see apps that can go both ways. Like PS3 or PS Vita has it so that you can play PS3 games, I think, offline or online while you're traveling with your Vita. So we're seeing a lot more people that have devices that can carry the same information multiple ways. So
Interesting.
I think that's the most interesting thing. I don't think it's going to just be one specific manufacturer with their technology. It's still going to be as fragmented as it was before. It's just the user will have to figure out what setup is the best for them to go across multiple platforms.
Well, in North America, Microsoft in the mobile OS is just not in the
is not in the equation. But I mean, by partnering up with Nokia was the largest provider of cell phones in Europe.
Yeah, in Europe and in the developing world, Nokia is dominant.
Yeah,
and with an exclusivity with Microsoft, I can see them penetrating very dominantly into that market. But in North America, they're really struggling, and it's good to see that some corporate clients are now getting into the Windows Phone.
Yeah,
and really adopting it, mainly because it syncs perfectly with Microsoft Exchange servers. So
yeah, I mean, I think it's all just it's great for Microsoft if they can do it, and if people are willing to take the time and to invest and make things for Microsoft.
What about Microsoft tablets?
That'll be interesting too.
They took the wrong approach, in my opinion, because in my opinion, they should have done some, followed in Apple's footstep and used the Windows Phone OS on the tablet, because that's essentially what an iPad is. It's a bigger iPhone, and they didn't do that. They still have this concept that the Windows tablet is a PC, that the tablet is a PC, not a phone. So the new Windows tablets that'll be coming out are going to be Windows 8, like full Windows 8.
Did you hear that noise?
Yep.
So, but
so what do you think? What do you think? Do you think that was a mistake, or do you think that
you're saying that Microsoft should have put iOS on their tablets?
No.
Microsoft
should have put Windows Phone.
Yeah, on their
tablets.
Yeah.
And
that would have been
But the idea is all of these devices are going to be closer and closer together, right? Like sooner or later, your TV and your phone and your computer and your tablet, they're all going to look and feel the same, right? Like in the new update of Lion, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, it feels like you're using an iPhone. When you're scrolling down a website, when you're changing applications, like it feels closer and closer to the iPhone.
Yeah.
And that's the right play. Because all of these are going to...
Windows is going that way too with their Metro OS and everything is... They've got the core OS and then everything else is apps. So once that launches, it's going to look very much like a mobile OS, but it's still not... They still have their Windows Phone and they have their Windows Desktop. It's two different things. And the tablet is going with the desktop model instead of the mobile model. So to me, I think it would have made more sense to do that. People understand that, not because they're used to the iPad. But they're still wanting to differentiate themselves from Apple and saying, no, this tablet is going to be a full-on computer. It's not a mobile device. It's not a mobile.
Well, a tablet is a computer, though. I mean, and the tablets we have now are like so superiorly fast compared to some of the computers I had even like 5 years ago.
I mean, they're powerful, but they don't run. They run apps. They don't run software like
the app software. Is a software. I mean, it's identical. Like it's not like you're not like an app is a cheap version.
For instance, if I have an Android tablet or an iPad, I can't edit a podcast. I have to use a PC.
And in a lot of industries, we're pretty much tied to software. It hasn't evolved to apps yet. So yeah, there's a lot of things in my industry I can't use a tablet for at all.
So what's closer to what? If you have like a line as the spectrum, A is a phone, B is a tablet, and C is a computer. Is B, the tablet, closer to a phone, or is it closer to a computer?
I'd say it's closer to a phone.
7 inches
then
closer
they should
to
be
a
the
phone.
same, right?
Well, we're not talking size. We're talking what you can do with the device.
Yeah.
Because
but that's determined by size, though, guys.
No, it's not.
7
it's
you can't
not.
do a lot with it, right? Now, if you have 12 inches, then you're talking.
I'll leave Margaret with this one.
I'm not going to say a word.
But what I think is I think it's actually closer to a desktop. I think a tablet is closer to a desktop, and I think that's where it will start to eclipse laptops.
Well,
more people have.
It's not closer to a desktop until it can run software that you can do editing and other things. It's like, yeah.
Well, actually, okay. Here's how you can do it. You can use a virtual private server, and you can go to my PC on your tablet, and then your iPad or your
So I take it a really awesome operating system, then I run Go to PC, and then I have to run Internet Explorer because that's all financial software runs on, and it's like, okay, that really defeats the purpose.
Well, no, what you'll see is when you log in, you'll see on your tablet, you'll see the screen of your computer, and you'll be able to use everything on there that you would use. But what you do need is a high-speed internet connection in order to do that.
Web browsers are just terrible on the Mac side, though.
What? Go ahead.
I'll just stick with the laptop for now.
Say it, Dawson.
For work.
Oh, web browsers are terrible on the Mac side.
Yeah, I use Dolphin for my Android browser. It's pretty quick, peppy.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, Microsoft will have to see where the chips lie and what that happens. I mean, things change immensely in 6 months. That it's hard to predict.
It's hard to keep up. I mean, imagine 5 years ago the landscape of the computer industry. I mean, it's like Mac was struggling, almost bankrupt. Microsoft was the king of the kings. Nobody's ever going to topple it. It's going to do amazing stuff. We're going to go have online apps, and that's the future. And then, boom, Google comes up and does.
Nobody'd even heard of Android.
Yeah, well, yeah. But Google was there. But what Google did is it basically beat Microsoft to the punch of putting stuff like an equivalent of Microsoft Word Online with Google Docs. So it just right up, took them out by the knees.
Well, everything's
and
going
I don't think
to
I've
the
ever
cloud.
recovered from that.
Well, Bonnie did an experiment with her when she had the Asus tab, and she went 100% in the cloud and tried to do all of her work that way, and she said she could do almost everything. So, there's certain things you can't do, and there's a lot of the regular day-to-day stuff that you can do using a tablet.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I would if I ever got a tablet, it would be because my eyes are bad and I can't read my Android phone.
I thought you got a tablet.
I do?
Yeah. Didn't you get a tablet?
No. I just that was just a little 7-inch I got for my kid.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Hey, change of topic. So I'll bring up the music.
Dun, 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 dun.
On WordPress and other platforms, you can bring in these commenting systems. You can use Facebook, actually, as a commenting system. And there's Discuss, and there's Live Fire, and Intense Debate. Well, Google is bringing out their own commenting system now.
Really?
They're bringing out their own commenting system, and there is some controversy associated with it because people are saying that is Google going to give preference in the search, in Google search, to comments that are on Google's commenting system as opposed to Livefire or Facebook or intense debate. So, are you as a website owner, Bob, and you have multiple websites? Are you more likely to use Google Comments, or are you going to stick with WordPress or intense debate or whatever you're using now?
Tough question. I mean, I use Google Docs like crazy because I've got the comments function, and I can have multiple people editing the documents.
No, I mean like on your actual on a WordPress site or on a website, you for comments on a blog, basically blog comments.
Oh, sorry.
There's multiple options. You can use the native WordPress comments, or you can use intense debate. There's plugins. There's all sorts of add-ons you can use.
Oh, yes, there's tons of stuff. The problem.
But now Google is coming out with their own.
What's the biggest player? Right? Is it Discuss, the biggest comment system?
Discuss was, but I think Livefire is taking a ton of market share away from them because of the social aspect. You can reply right within the comment, so you can. I can leave a comment, say on Marcel's blog, Movie Yearbook. Mm-hmm. I could say I know that James went to this movie, so I could actually comment on his blog and reply James and say.
Yeah.
You know, and so then he'll get that as an @reply on Twitter, and then he can reply back right into the the comments. So it's pretty cool.
I think you can do that with Discuss as well. But they've got a new release coming out this week or next week, which is going to be big.
Cool. So has that feature been available on Discuss before?
You can @reply, but I believe they get sent an email. I don't know if it's integrated with Facebook or Twitter.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting, but what do you think of Google coming out with their own commenting system?
That's interesting. Is that another stab at the social sphere?
Yeah, I think so, because they've got the +1 button now.
Should they stop trying and just start buying? Should they just be acquiring these social?
Stop trying and start buying.
Because I mean, I think we've seen in the past that they are having trouble creating a social company.
Well, I think Google Plus is a good example of one of their successes.
Yeah, I mean, Google buys and they also develop at the same time. They just finished buying out Milk to get a hold of talent. I think what they do is they end up buying companies to buy talent more than anything else. So now they want Kevin Rose, and I think Kevin Rose is probably going to end up at YouTube, because that's what YouTube needs. So they bought him out, probably for a lot of money. Like, the guy doesn't need money anyways after dig, but doesn't matter. You know, here's 20 mil or whatever. For them, it's pocket change. So I think they do both. They buy out and they also develop within.
Okay.
I mean, you know, it just goes back to like 4 or 5 shows ago when I said, like, Google makes several $1 billion probably monthly with Google Ads, and that's a 32-person team. Even, you know, and they've got thousands and thousands and thousands of people working. So basically, some of their core businesses are supporting all the other experimentation. So, you know, it's a perfect storm for those guys. They have the luxury of time and money to experiment and play. I wish they would just do stuff that's more design-centric and interface-centric compared to just going for the 100% engineering approach to stuff. Because that's what Apple does, right? That's why Apple is winning the hearts and minds of the larger section of the demographics.
But isn't that kind of the company culture of Google? Isn't that what they are? They are the name Google. They are the brainiacs, the engineers, right? That's what their company does.
Yeah, it's well, the thing is that it's their hiring practice too. Their HR and their culture builds on that. And what they're doing now is the reason they're buying out companies and getting people like Kevin Rose is because Kevin Rose is an awesome community designer and an app designer. You know, he's would be the equivalent of an art director in an advertising agency. He comes up and gives it the feel and the mood and drives the technical team to create something that is pleasing and easy to interface with and entertaining. And that's, I think, where Google fails a lot of time. There's no entertainment.
Well,
And,
Google is
if
all
you-
about function over style, right? They want things that work, but they don't have the design and the style behind it
Yeah,
because they're engineers.
true,
So-
true.
So when virtually every product looks the same. It's just kind of widget oriented. It's not really compared
Yeah,
to.
but they have all that. They're fundamentally they have awesome products. I mean, I love what Google does.
I love Google
YouTube.
products, but they're not like beautiful products like Apple. When traditionally Apple is all about design.
Yeah, it's elegance.
They've got good products too, but they're simple and it's all about the design of the product and the user interface. Google is more about coming out with a product that is really cool and works, but it's just simple and very. You can tell that they're engineers, and that's the background.
Yeah,
that they
well,
have.
it goes back to the old Bauhaus paradigm. Is function follows form instead of form follows function. Which one is it? And back in the Bauhaus days, it was like form follows function, and that's what Apple is. If it's a beautiful form, it'll have great functionality. Whereas Google, it has to function, and the hell with the form. Still works, but the way that the human interacts with it and picks it up and decides that, yeah, this is the direction I want to go in, this is the tool I want to use, form over function always wins.
Mm-hmm.
That's why beautiful cars sell, and cars that aren't so beautiful but are really cool function don't sell so well.
Yeah.
It's just the way the humans think.
Like Volvos don't sell very well, but
Meh,
other cars do. Okay, so last topic before we close the show. How many people are actually using social networks while they're watching TV to comment with people while they're watching a TV program live?
Not as much a TV program, but like a bigger event, like a hockey game or football or Grammys or something.
So while you're watching those, you're tweeting and you're commenting live. Because it's interesting because this whole new thing is kind of bringing back live TV. Because since the PVR came out, people aren't like, for instance, I don't watch TV hardly ever live. I watch it, late night or whenever I catch up on things. I just record all the programs that I want, and which really isn't that many, but I just watch them whenever I feel like it. But now, with Tweet TV and Spotify and all these other social sites like Tweak.tv, Get Glue,
Buddy TV.
Yeah,
Buddy TV is awesome, by the way. I got to meet that guy. He's a rad dude, and
cool.
that's actually a really cool way to meet other people that are also into other TV shows that you're into, just by tweeting. Well, you're in a chat room for that specific show. I think it's Buddy TV. But yeah, I use Get Glue. I don't really look at the comments, but they're kind of interesting to check out with the stream.
So the second screen, there's the TV, the big screen, and then there's a small screen, which is you're either your tablet or your phone.
Yeah.
And with here we got some music happening. With Tweet TV, they want to be the new social TV guide. So with more and more television viewers turning to sites like Twitter to weigh in on what they're watching live at any given moment, all sorts of new companies are trying to capitalize on this. Mm-hmm. And Tweet TV just raised $750,000, and they're describing themselves as real-time social TV guide. So how many people are using this? Is anybody here using those services?
I've never used Tweet TV yet. I probably will now.
Never heard of it until today.
I use Get Glue and I use Buddy TV.
So you use Get Glue?
Yeah,
so that's for checking in.
Checking in, leaving a comment, showing I'm a fan, showing I'm currently watching it. If I'm on, if I watch, Shark Tank, I always make sure I go to Twitter because I know all the sharks from Shark Tank are actually tweeting live while the show is on. So I kind of find that interesting.
So this is bringing people back to live TV.
I like it. I mean, it gives you.
You're not watching TV alone, even if you're sitting in your house alone, because you're commentating with millions of other people.
Yes, community.
I was watching Fashion Star or whatever it is, where they
Just
have
for kicks, right?
Well, actually, yeah. Well, I mean, because of the industry that I'm in, I mean, you got to pay attention to what people are doing, and I knew that WWE, they're like my like barometer for what's actually popular, because if it's on wrestling, then it seeps down for some reason. It's strange, but because they're such a massive corporation, they started using Twitter before a lot of other companies even got on the boat to promote their events, right? Because all they do is sell tickets, and so they've been using social media networks in a way different way, in which they'll actually get their like people fighting over Twitter, so you're kind of paying attention, so you can see like the jabs they're throwing at each other.
Well, it's interesting that because Twitter is where this started, and then everybody started to capitalize on this with all these other startups. But Twitter is actually dominating, and now Tweet TV, they're using Twitter's platform, and basically what they're trying to do is to become the social TV guide. And I don't know if it's going to work.
People like what they like. I mean, like I said, I was watching the fashion show because I was like, well, this is an interesting concept. You have, people that are designing clothes, and then 3 companies buy their clothing if they like it, and it immediately goes on sale after the show is over. I was like, that's a really interesting concept. That's like the Home Shopping Network on crack. Like immediately, and then you've got Jessica Simpson and some celebrities like mentoring him and stuff like that.
It reminds me.
I started watching The Apprentice just because they tweet during the Celebrity Apprentice. I find it kind of interesting to get their takes, because they're no longer, they're still under contract maybe, but they're no longer bound to have that nice attitude towards each other. So you can. It feels like you're getting an insider's perspective.
It reminds me of that Kobo app, Kobo Pulse, that Astrid was talking about several episodes back, where you can be reading a book using a Kobo Vox.
Oh, and then you can scan it, highlight a piece of text and then share it with people.
And you can see how many people are actually reading the book right now, and you can look at their comments if you want, and if you are really inspired by something, you can crowdsourced. And basically, if I actually did that, I'd never get through a book.
The first reason I got Get Clue was so I could see what movies were actually good. I mean, I started using to see what was popular based upon it. I don't really think I can trust a single reviewer, but I think if I can trust 50,000 people, it's more like they're crowdsourcing the popularity, and it's a good way to test an algorithm. I mean, it's a way to get metrics back quicker than you could possibly imagine back in the day.
Exactly.
You had to wait 3 days to figure out how your box office was.
Yeah.
And now you can have it immediately in your hand, as soon as you launch.
Instant feedback on your show.
And
for writing a book too, imagine the book that you were writing took a month, and every chapter was a blog post. You got feedback from people of that community, from a commenting system. You got to review it and then publish that book.
They do have sites like that where you can actually do books by committee already.
I think DJ Lefty has a...
Go, Dave.
I think one of the things that is kind of staring everyone in the face right now is one of the biggest growing entertainment things out there is the UFC.
Yeah.
And if you think about what they've done with the UFC on Facebook, I don't know if you guys watch UFC, but when
I've
they have
been
a big pay-per-view event,
of the UFC since day one.
Right. So the pay-per-view events they have, and it costs $50, and I think it's outrageous, but whatever. But they put the preliminary fights for free on Facebook and all over, right? So you have to go on Facebook and you have to like the UFC, and you get to watch all those fights for free, and that's great. So then they're using Facebook, they're using Twitter. They have bonuses for their fighters to have. If they get so many Twitter followers, they get $100,000 bonuses. It's ridiculous. Now they've actually taken it a step further and taken one of the most popular shows on television, which is The Ultimate Fighter,
and made it live.
And they've made it live.
But you have to subscribe to a specific channel here in Canada.
Fair enough, but I mean, it's Sportsnet, right, or whatever it is.
I think it's FX Canada or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it comes with any TSN sports package, but at the end of the day, you've got live TV on one of the most popular sporting events out there for a company that's already utilizing almost every social media venue. They're dominating. They're using this. They are absolute geniuses.
Well, it's all Dana White. Dana White is a marketing genius.
He's a blockhead genius is what he is. He's amazing.
I mean, he swears a lot, but, whatever.
So do I.
But he is awesome. And
just a blockhead.
A lot of people don't like him, but look what he did. I was a huge fan, and I still am a fan, but back in the day, I was a diehard fan when it was a cult, following.
UFC 4 with Royce Gracie.
I used to have all the tapes. I had the Pride,
the VHS tapes,
Pride tapes from Japan, and you know, we were at a part when I was at a party. I'd pull out the tapes and put them in, and there'd be a few people that were into it, and we'd watch it. But most people would be like, "What are you doing? That stuff's brutal," and all this. Along came the Ultimate Fighter TV show, season 1. And all of a sudden, boom, I started getting calls because everybody knew I was a diehard fan. I started getting calls from my friends' girlfriends asking me about fighters. And at that point, I knew, okay, the UFC is now mainstream. It was an incredible...
and it went mainstream, and they did it proper. A lot of people go mainstream, and it looks like one big sellout. These guys, you know, sure, Dana White's a bit of a jerk-off, and he swears a lot, but... He's a genius. I mean, what he's done is incredible. And the fact that every single fighting company out there, and like King of the Cage and Bellator, and they're trying to do what he does. And it's the use of Facebook and Twitter and the fact that they're encouraging their best fighters to use those things. I mean, I think it was Roy Nelson, who is a big, kind of gross, funny. He's a funny guy. He's a really nice guy, but he's not really popular. He was given, I think, $50,000 if he could get, I think it was 100,000 followers on Twitter in 2 weeks, and he did it. He got $50,000 over that.
Well, I like the story about Dana White. He used to pull into gas stations in Los Angeles or whatever, and he would tweet out, "I'm at this gas station," and he'd give some kind of bonus for the people who came and saw him. And he would get people pulling in like crazy into this gas station because he has so many followers. And he would tweet out that he was there, and then he'd get like people like within minutes driving into the gas station just to meet him. And
it gives away tickets like that too at different events.
Yeah,
exactly.
And it cost him nothing. You know what? I just want to give a quick plug, like I was telling you earlier. My brother has a fighter who just became the Canadian welterweight champion. His name is Elmer Waterhen out in Edmonton. He's got a Facebook page. I go on there, and he's funny. He's just some random guy who's a scrapper. And now he's making a living doing what he loves to do. And he's got all these fans based on his Facebook page. And I wouldn't even have known who he was. And I love the UFC, and I love it. I watch all the fighting. This guy here just came out of nowhere in Edmonton. And based on everything my brother set him up on with Facebook and Twitter and all those followers, everybody knows who he is now. And if you don't know who he is, go check him out.
Cool. So are you gonna set us up with a tune to close off the show?
We're gonna outro with James's tune here. He says,
it's the Mario song by Levels.
All right, Bob.
Yeah.
Yo.
We'll see you again next week. We're closing off the show. Thanks for joining us via Google Plus Hangout for the very first time.
Yeah, very cool. Totally different experience doing it this way.
All right, so here's the song.
Made all with Mario music.
And we'll see you again next week.
You will.
And I'd like to thank Wix.com for sponsoring the Bunker Project. Wix.com is the easiest way to do it yourself online with an awesome Flash-based, also now HTML-based website.
Yeah, very cool. Check it out.